Hi guys, welcome to this update video. I do hope that you are doing amazing today. Now, we are 56 days out from the official start of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, and one of the major predictions have been released last week. So we're going to be talking about that, and we'll be looking at that general weather update for the Atlantic, with focus being on the vicinity of the Caribbean. So let's get into it. As we take a look at the satellite imagery, the infrared satellite imagery of the North Atlantic, here we can see that there's a bit of action moving through parts of the southern United States, especially the southeast states. Lots of severe weather barreling through the area. And as we head towards the vicinity of the Caribbean, we don't see a whole lot, but there have been some showers and even a couple thunderstorms within a few areas. Going down to South America, parts of Colombia, and even offshore in the eastern Pacific, we can see that there's all those white dots indicating those lightning strikes. So there's quite a bit of thunderstorm activity there as well. And as we zoom into the Caribbean a bit closer, here we can see what's going on. So across some parts of Jamaica, earlier this morning there was a brief thunderstorm. Even seen a little bit of action offshore, and we've been seeing this a lot more often over the past week or so. As we're gradually heading towards our first rainy season, this is going to be the trend, where we get these showers, thunderstorms, even instances of very heavy downpours, which may result in some level of flooding. So that's going to be the trend, and not just for Jamaica, but even other places as well. It's been quite active towards parts of the Windward Islands, especially Trinidad and Tobago. We've got that upper airflow coming in from the southwest, so that's been helping to influence the weather with some overcast skies and even some downpours across a few spots. Now, as we're going to be heading throughout today, this is a look at the rainfall forecast. We can see these different colors, very colorful for South America, and even for parts of Trinidad and Tobago. There could be some heavy rain in some areas. That's definitely possible. And then for northern South America, Colombia, Venezuela, the Guyanas as well, heavy rain definitely likely in many areas, and that can result in some flooding. Panama, Costa Rica may experience some downpours likewise as we head up towards Guatemala, El Salvador, a few spots in Mexico and Belize. Nothing crazy though. Bay Islands should be on the drier side today, and for a few spots in Nicaragua and Honduras, a few downpours possible. Passing showers likely for sections of the Cayman Islands. As for Jamaica, again, we could see some more instances of those thunderstorms and even some downpours. Much of Cuba not expected to experience any significant rain today. A couple showers may pass through Haiti and the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and much of the Lesser Antilles. ABC Islands, we don't really see any color at all, likely to be on the drier side through much of today. Likewise for the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands, although a few passing showers will certainly be possible. In terms of the winds, it is going to be quite windy in some areas today. So especially as we head to the vicinity of the Bay Islands of Honduras and even towards the Keys offshore Belize, it could be quite windy. Winds well over 20, maybe 22 knots. And also within the central Caribbean, it's likely to be quite windy today. Elsewhere, winds anywhere going from 10, maybe up to 15 knots or so at the maximum. So it's going to be a pretty windy day. Seas are a little bit unsettled as well, but as we're going to be heading throughout the week, marine conditions will gradually improve across the Caribbean Sea. Now, in terms of the hurricane season prediction, now the forecast came out from the Colorado State University, and an above average hurricane season is expected, as you would have seen on my thumbnail of this video, even in the title. So the average number of storms between 1991 and 2020 are 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. And just in case you're not too sure, a major hurricane is basically any hurricane that reaches Category 3 status or higher on the Saffir-Simpson scale. So that is what is deemed an average hurricane season based on the activity throughout that time frame and various factors influencing the hurricane season. Now, for this year, the Colorado State University, in their first prediction, is expecting that we're going to see more than average activity. So they're expecting 17 named storms, of which 9 could reach hurricane status. And of those 9, 4 of those hurricanes could become major hurricanes. So that is the prediction, an above average hurricane season. So what's the reason for this? Well, there are a couple of factors that influence the activity that takes place during the season. But one of the major factors is the sea surface temperatures. Now, looking at this anomaly chart right here, we can see these shades of blues, we see white, we see shades of yellows, oranges, reds. So this is the sea surface temperature anomaly map. Where we see those blue shadings indicate where ocean temperatures or sea surface temperatures are cooler than average. White indicates that temperatures are pretty much average. And then those yellows going to those oranges and reds indicate above average or warmer than normal temperatures. And we can definitely see that on the whole, most of the North Atlantic is experiencing above average temperatures, especially the Caribbean and even the Gulf. And the Gulf has been warming up as well. Just offshore Africa, things are cooler than normal. But as we're going to be progressing to the eventual start of hurricane season, it is going to be gradually getting warmer and warmer. As for the actual sea surface temperature map, normally it's waters of around 26 to 26.5 degrees Celsius that support tropical development. So we definitely have that across much of the Caribbean, parts of the Gulf, and in the most westerly side of the main development region. So closer to Africa, things are cooler, as I mentioned, but will be warming up as we head towards later into spring and eventually as we approach summer. Another factor that will influence the hurricane season is our ENSO pattern, El Niño Southern Oscillation. The cooler phase of ENSO normally results in a more active hurricane season. The warmer phase of ENSO typically helps to suppress activity during the hurricane season, and in between those two phases, we've got the neutral phase. Now, based on the most recent forecast, let's take a look at this graph here. So this is something that I had showed in a previous video, but we're going back to it. So this is showing the ENSO probabilities. Now, the cool phase I mentioned is La Nina phase. That is the phase that helps to result in a more active hurricane season. And then there's the neutral phase that's in between, and then El Nino, the warmer phase. The warmer phase, it typically helps to suppress tropical cyclone development in the North Atlantic basin. So La Nina indicated by the blue, neutral by gray, and El Nino by red. Now, as we're going to be progressing through much of the hurricane season, we see that the red bar is the lowest. So there is a pretty low chance that we will be transitioning to El Nino at any point through the rest of the year. And we see a more elevated chance for a neutral phase, and that chance of a La Nina goes up as we progress through time. So the letters you see are for the months. So we've got, for example, February, March, April, May, June, July, and so on and so forth. The higher the bar, the higher the chance. So we can see that there's going to be an elevated chance of a La Nina as we're going to be heading deeper into the hurricane season. But for now, as we transition through spring, it's likely that we're going to be in that neutral phase. And because of that, it means we could be seeing an above average hurricane season. So there are going to be a lot more forecasts over the coming weeks, guys. And then, of course, the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, will be issuing their prediction in May. So I'm going to be keeping you posted. But of course, we're slowly getting these predictions rolling in. And even from last year, from the end of the 2024 hurricane season, we got the first ever prediction for this hurricane season, which was from the tropical storm risk. They were expecting 15 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. So more of a very close to average hurricane season. Now, despite all these numbers we're seeing, one of the things that I like to emphasize is that it only takes just one single storm, one single hurricane that can be disastrous. It only takes one. So we don't have to necessarily look at these numbers to say, whole lot of storms expected, and there could even be a whole lot of storms, and the major ones stay offshore. We don't get much damage to land, which would be the most ideal scenario. But of course, it's not always like that. But that's why we're here, to keep you posted. And even as we're going to be heading more towards the season as things get more active, not just in terms of hurricane activity, but overall, as we get more unstable weather settling across the Caribbean, more of those thunderstorms, and even those tropical waves which will eventually start rolling off of Africa, I'll be giving you guys more and more consistent updates. Of course, there's not a huge variation right now. That is why my videos are a little bit sparse through the week, but I'll be keeping you posted as necessary. And that is pretty much what I wanted to bring to your attention today. Now, I do hope you found this to be informative. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll get to you when I can. And remember to always be weather-wise.